First and foremost, I just want to start off by saying, I have to say thank you, God. This is videos I will always start with that, and I think it gives me the time to just appreciate what I need to be appreciative of. I know that my life is not doing well. I'm a target individual, and I know what it means. Really means the reality of what a target individual is, not the fantasized, falsified, bullshit re- storylines that they create to confuse the target individual into thinking this is something else but what it is. I have to be appreciative because my life could be like the life of this slow life, participating and perhaps contracted by these governmental entities to implement these things onto us. Whatever is happening to me, I know the reality of what's behind it, not what's being projected toward me. What's put in front of me is something that's meant to confuse me, disorient me, distort reality. They're the nothings and the trash the government use that is trying to make you believe that you're the nothing while they're the trash, having to live this clown life. They use very childish, out of touch reality kind of children. They use men and women who are just opportunists and compromise and now live a life of just recreating reality. As you see, the name of this video is called Not Real. For me, they have these childish ways of trying to kind of discredit the reality of what they're part of. And they, meaning these perps, the participants of this program. And that's why now I use Not Real every time. When I see them, I'll say Not Real. Meaning that you're going to hear what they're really part of. The not real testimonials that you're going to hear. The not real things they do to target individual. The not real reality that they are trying to counter. For me, it's going to be bad. Because these not real things, they better understand. It's so not real that I see them truly for what they are. They will get theirs and understand as much as the non-real is happening, that I know who's in charge of this non-real. This illusory of human beings can evaporate tomorrow. It won't change anything. They're nothings. Their job is to literally try to discredit reality. They're not the creme de la creme. They're just clowns and childlike trash. But this clown and childlike trash are in something that's not real. That has cost the life of so many men and women and children that they deserve death. They know that. Now, if they say that's not real, I reassure you, they will understand one way or another. It's not a threat. It's more like you live in a way, in a program, in an environment where evilness has been facilitated and is easy to participate. I think it's my duty to make them understand. No, not even to make them understand. To make them see the non-real things. It's when we see each other, as much as I know that you're nothing, you're truly a clown. You didn't destroy my life. You're just involved in a program that destroys the life of people. Who destroyed my life is who put me in this program, which is not real, because it's their money. Now, for me, as I see this trash, and they say not real, they know that I look at them for the shit that they are. They truly see me looking at them as the trash that they are. I saw some people in the hallway. I was listening to this woman who's saying this not real testimonial of what was happening to her. And I could hear her say not real, and I look at her for the shit that she is. She didn't even know where to look. So, okay. It's not real. It's not real. Target individuals stay strong. These perps are clowns. And the shit that will get theirs. They will not escape into this fantasized reality. They are the trash of these pedophiles. Sorry, let me repeat that. The entities behind this program, we're talking about the Department of Defense and these governmental entities. These entities have this non-real issue that keeps surging back over and over. This non-real issue has even prompt a bill called End National Defense Network Abuse Act that was introduced in 2019. Because what's not real is, according to Child Protective Services, overseeing child porn, ranked something not real, that the Department of Defense Network consistently ranked at the top tier level of child porn trafficking using DoD network. That there's a lot of Department of Defense employees are downloading child porn and sharing it to their peers. Something's not real that you're gonna hear. And as I see this shit, I'll be thinking of all this non-real stuff. But I will never let them live their fantasy. Target individuals, stay strong and know yourself, because they're gonna try to reconstruct reality in your brain, even some retardation of logic. You know, with me, the things that can be even utilized to just kind of be redesigned in different ways is like, for example, something about feet. For example, I'm supposed to feel guilty or feel uncomfortable about feet or something like that, because they want me to have like this thing with fetish for feet, right? Listen, there's a lot of men who are really into feet. That's their thing. Feet turn them on. It's not me. It's not me. But I do appreciate nice feet, I guess. But you know, they will just make me think, oh, but you see how you're looking at the. I have a thing where even it's not even like something sexual for me. It's just like looking at people's feet, even men, in the sense of like how people's feet are shaped. Even my own feet, I look at it sometimes. I'm like, oh, these shapes this way and whatnot. And they will try to make me feel guilty because I have my siblings, and I remember seeing my sister's feet and the way her feet looked. And it's like, oh, you see, like your feet. It's like, it's my sister, I don't even care. And even my brother. But they'll try to make it feel in a different way. I'm like, I don't care. You just try to just redesign reality. But this is something that's small and that doesn't, it's just like annoying. What they will try to deflect from is the things I'm about to bring up, because what is truly disturbing to me is how they manipulate me and make me experience these things towards children. These reactions and the stimulations that are forced for me to experience. That is what is traumatizing. That is what is degrading. That is what is breaking me down. That's the nasty things that truly they disturb me. If I was into feet, I wouldn't care. There's so many men that are into that, so that doesn't faze me at all. But this pedophilia thing is what just disturbed me. Forcing somebody to have this reaction and try to gaslight somebody into this nastiness is the disturbing things they do. But you're gonna hear this non-real trend they have been doing. The evilness of what they do is so facilitated. I mean, childlike retards are involved. Some of them, I mean, they're not a stable people. They're children. I'm interacting with perps who are on antidepressant, that literally had to take antidepressant every day to maintain life, to stay stable mentally. So you can only imagine this childlike trash that live around me. For me, there's truly a childlike kind of perp-like individuals around me. So you can only understand how nothing they are. Even my death, I can look at them as just a nothing, the inferiors that they are. They're just childish. They're clowns. And there's grown men and women too involved in this. And they become like the children they are guiding. So, let me just start by saying I know what's happening to me, as in I'm a target individual. My body is being destroyed. For example, I can feel right now on the right corner of my body just pain. I don't know if it's my liver, my kidney, or something is just being hit there and it's making me sick. I understand that this Department of Defense weapon system, this weapon system that is utilized on target individuals, are super sophisticated and can harm a human being remotely with energy level of weaponry, with sophistication where you don't even have to see who's doing that to you, and the damage can be very precise. And I know it's not these retards, this childlike trash living around me weapon system. There's just the clowns that they use to kind of disorient the target visual. And I have to accept the reality of it, that my life is being destroyed because I was put in a program where the Department of Defense is using human beings as a test subject. The not real reality that you're gonna hear. And I will never be lost in this not real, repetitive trash that say these things. These clowns. Matter of fact, I'll start calling it not real too every time I listen to testimonials. I'll just use their verbiage now. So when we get to see each other, I was like, yeah, not real, huh? As I'm listening to what they do to women and children. As I listen to the mass shootings. As I listen to the suffering of so many and understanding that it's not real that they deserve death. But it's okay. I will make sure that they see themselves what they are. Today, I can hear this V2K, this technology that can pipe voices into you, and to hear this childlike trash whispering things. Earlier, somebody's like, "You like feet?" I'm like, "She's such a clown." Because she wanted me to get lost in that, because I'm gonna bring up the real disturbing things they do to me. As I'm saying, that even stimulate me. To hear this childlike trash, that's like, "No, it's you." Like, it's so me. It's so me, and these testimonials are so not real. But it's okay when we get to see each other. If I get the pleasure and the honor to do that, I should reassure you, understand what's not real. Target vigil, I know what's happening to me is not coming from some next door neighbor and childlike mentally handicapped and some childish grown men and childish women and their weapon system and their fierce feminists presenting clowns. I'll never identify with this. I know that they are manipulating my brain and my thoughts. They're rewiring my brain, and I know it's coming from the Department of Defense. My brain is so rewired and so altered that everything turned into something. Mental battles are created. This technology can manipulate your thought process and your brain on top of hitting and damage your body, your organs. For me to speak right now is really difficult, and it's gonna get worse. Because what's not real is they are degrading the human body. They're degrading the human mind. What's not real is that the Department of Defense has been working on technology, the weapon system of the future, the 21st century weapon system, which will utilize just energy weapon system, and will utilize different type of weaponization of technology to degrade a human being. You're gonna hear this non-real mentioned by this person who's been studying, writing about the 21st century weapon system. For me, things like looking at kids are now manipulating these disturbing ways. If I see a child, if I look at a child, especially little girls, I will be forced to get reaction, stimulation, sensation, thought process of some sort that are going to be degrading and nasty. For example, yesterday they did this thing, and then they created this thought process of it all. Yesterday, I'm on dating profile, and I see this. The last picture of this woman is her picture of her when she's like, it looked like a 8-year-old kid. Before that, there was like a little picture, and I don't even have it here. I forgot to. Where you can see a little kid in the behind the scenes so far. It took me like 10 out of 10 to take a screenshot of that because I showed the pictures of what they do to me. It was so far, but he looked like a 5-ish-year-old kid. It's tiny, like all the way, like I won't even notice this kid unless they make me see that kid. I'll maybe make a video about this and show how crazy it is. But then I'm on the dating profile again, and there's a woman holding a baby, a child, the adorable baby here. And it's so nasty because what they do is they even make me think of a woman that resemble this baby, a woman that I've been with, a woman my age that I've been with romantically, to make me think of this baby in a sexual way. Matter of fact, right now they're making chain nose campaign. They have these ways of trying to use scare tactics to get you to accept these things. For me, I'll run to them if I saw them like holding chains because they think that that's gonna make me accept these manipulations. They're delusional. I'll run to these fuckers. Because what's not real is they do this pedophilia type of torture. What they start making me think is it's crazy because as I looked at this kid, they forced me to get sexual stimulation as always. But they were creating this mental battle yesterday because they're like, no, but you see the older kid, it's not a real reaction. It's not natural. The 7-year-old kid that you saw, that little girl who's like more between 4, 5, maybe 6 max, that's you. We mapped it to you as a kid. It's so nasty. Adorable little girl that they forced me to get this disgusting reaction, even implanting the imagination of a woman, a grown-ass woman, a woman that has my age, maybe a year younger than me, to try to create this thought process that's sexual toward this kid. And then to hear this clown that paid to say not real. I will never identify with these things. They were trying to make me think, no, but you see the 7-year-old, the little older kid, a little bit older, like still like under 10, but like 7-year-old kid holding the basketball. That's not the real you. That's not the we didn't match this. We didn't map this, right? They have these things where with the smaller one, the little girls like them, especially little girls, they have these ways of just making me feel this reaction that they want me to think that I experienced when I was a kid. They called, no, this is paired. We mapped it to you as a kid. To me as a kid, around this age, and they're forcing me to have these reactions, and so nasty. Around the age of this kid here, I put the reality in their faces because I know their job is to truly be retards. That's what they're supposed to be doing. That they're mapping my brain to the age of this kid. This is a kid in 8th grade, or so, and I use that because, for me, I like to put the reality, the real stuff, the way that things should make sense, in their fucking faces. These clowns. That I'm supposed to think that they just have paired a reaction that I've experienced when I was a kid, as if that makes makes sense, makes rational sense. They're gonna hear the not real testimonials of how they rewire the brain, and the not real and National Defense Network Abuse Act bill, and the not real things they do to children, and the not real things they do to women, and the not real things they do to women who, when they were children, were abused and raped. All this not real stuff. And the not real ways of trying to disorient reality. The reason why they like to use me as, well, say that it's me when I was a child at that age, is because when I was a kid that age, I did this damn thing to myself. An impulsive act of a child of that age. And so, when I see these little girls, especially between like the 4, 5, maybe 3, they create these reactions that they want me to think, oh, especially black little girls, especially them, but all little girls, and force me to get these stimulations and reaction that I should be thinking that makes sense because this is something that I feel like I had the same experience when I was a kid. when the truth is just reconcocted my childhood memories with different reaction and stimulation, with a new feeling that's created in a fashion that is trying to mimic or try to resemble or try to make me think it resembles something I experienced when I was a kid. I will never identify with this nasty manipulation. Let me just say this, and I'm gonna make sure I show this because they want you as a target individual to be scared and identify with this. That's why they make this chain nose campaign. Because I'd rather die in chains than live life try to make somebody identify with these manipulations. This adorable child forcing me to get this nasty thing, just forcing me to have this reaction, and even bringing a woman, a grown woman, maybe a few years younger than me, max 2-3 years, try to put her in my mind as I see this kid and just try to do something and tell me that what we just did, we just mapped your brain. Because the reality is they're just altering your brain in this disturbing ways toward children. And they use this childlike trash to supposed to gaslight you. It's like, oh, they are, so you. This is not real, it's you. All kind of clownery. Target visual, please don't identify with this. Please look at this shit for the way they are. They deserve death and beyond. They're not even aware of that. That's the scary part is like, they were shocked, like, oh my gosh, how could you even say this? How can you even say I deserve death? Me? See, you don't only deserve death, you deserve everything that you're saying that I'm going to experience. But me, I'm going to experience it with dignity because I know what you guys do. I'd rather get, and they tell me they're going to torture me in ways that's so humiliating. I was like, okay. I'm being tortured by people who you're gonna hear do this non-real things. Now, my mind, my thought process is being rewired and manipulated in these degrading ways. They can force you to have these nasty reactions. This trash who happen to do this pedophilia this trash that are matching, have these common tactics. They're gonna hear these non-real things every day. So when we get to see each other, I'll be like, okay. I didn't subscribe. I didn't believe these non-real things. You protect kids and women for sure. Top tier protectors of children, actually. Now, for me, I've understood this. The government has been working on technology that can alter the mind for decades. At least at this point, it's used as a weapon system. I'm not the first, and I won't be the last one to say this.
Are innocent citizens being controlled by government-sanctioned experiments? Is Cheryl Welsh telling the truth, or are her claims absurd? Just another conspiracy theory that's impossible to prove. Maybe. But not if you listen to Nick Begich.
I think there's some good evidence that Cheryl Welch and many of the other people I've spoken with have been victimized by this electromagnetic mind control experiments. The weapons of this century aren't bombs and bullets and ordnance, but electromagnetic energy targeting the human being, which is the greatest revolution in military affairs since gunpowder.
Begich is an expert in government mind control. He is convinced the Pentagon has mastered a technology once thought to be science fiction. The ability to broadcast information directly into the human brain.
Our government began spending a lot of time looking at how to modify behaviors of human beings. Going back to the Korean War, in fact, in a publication, Low-Intensity Conflict in Modern Technology, they have a chapter on electromagnetic weapon systems and being able to not just to debilitate someone, but actually even to stimulate certain activities within the brain.
Wow.
HARP is the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project, which started as a joint effort of the Air Force and Navy. This is a very large array or field of antennas based in Alaska, radio frequency antennas.
HARP antennas transmit powerful radio signals into the upper atmosphere to study the effects on wireless communications. But Begich says HARP can also be used for more sinister ends.
HARP has announced several other programs and campaigns, and there's two areas that I got very concerned about. One was weather modification applications. The other was the effect on human beings. If you can modulate a signal that the brain locks onto, recognizes, and begins to mirror or follow the frequency following response, the brain rhythms change, to be about triggering emotions. You can change people's brain chemistry pretty readily, change their emotional state pretty easily. But when you get down to the idea of thoughts and being able to manipulate those, that requires much a different kind of sophistication.
Deleted signs.
So this nasty reaction that they force me to have is a reaction they can design for me to experience. And this man describes it
designed
fashion.
to interact with the human nervous system in order to remotely pick up on someone's neural network or EEG and not only receive that and monitor it, but manipulate it and place it back into the victim to control their emotions or control their actions or bodily functions for that matter. The other more recent term we have for that is EEG heterodyning or EEG cloning. The difference between EEG heterodyning and EEG cloning would be, let's say, me remotely receiving your EEG and then duplicating it and putting that in another person to give them your same thoughts or feelings or physical reactions. EEG heterodyning would be receiving your EEG, manipulating it to put it back inside your head to give us a desired physical reaction or emotional reaction.
So the desired emotion reaction or stimulations can be manipulated in the target individual. And so that as I was looking at this baby, they forced me some kind of sexual stimulation. I could feel some kind of light stimulation in my private part. And they can gauge the intensity of the stimulation they want you to have. Then they use these scare tactics of like moving chains and things like that. And they're going to go through some theatrical torture because they're still trying to present themselves, project this facade of, no, we're protecting children, what we're doing, we're mapping your brain, for our children, our little girls, as they force you to have this desired reaction that they desire for you to experience, so they can present themselves in this fashion. It's part of this psychological and cognitive kind of warfare that they try to create. Because apparently that should make me think that I'm just experiencing something natural. They fail in that stage. Listen, what's going to happen to me is going to happen to me regardless. The government is behind this. Now some retards that look this way, living next to you, they just employ and contract all kind of people, and they come in all shape and form. Not all of them are this childish. And this is the things that's, they've been working on for years. I'm trying to pull up a video here if I find it, but it's okay if I don't. But they do these things where they truly are rewiring your brain, your thought process, and it is degrading, but you got to be strong.
You're rewiring their thought processes and brains. You're programming techniques. That can pipe voices into an individual's head. And once you can do that, you can control them using neuro-linguistic programming techniques. You're rewiring their thought processes and brains. And so this gets into what's called offensive information warfare. And they can manipulate people to do things that are irrational, but also walk them to their death. And so you can call it a eugenics program. And they need to sample all cultures, language throughout the world to define their probability matrices of which tricks, techniques, deception works. So how do you control the brain? Most people...
So they take control of your brain and just degrade, destroy you psychologically, of course physically. And the thought process are degrading, the reactions are degrading, they are meant to push you into insanity for the purpose of killing yourself. It is truly foul. It's truly evil, but you gotta understand, they are developing a weapon system. And they're improving on this weapon system, adding to it, and utilizing human beings of all culture, all genders, and all ages. Meaning that even children are used as test subjects. You're gonna hear this non-real testimonial. And the truth is, the weapon system of the future will be different.
See the Radio Frequency Dosimetry Handbook, 1986, University of Utah, produced for the Air Force. It gives you the resonant frequencies for each vital organ so that you can send in a radio signal that will couple with the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, and cause them to malfunction so that you can degrade the performance of your adversary. The new weapon systems being developed today will attack the mind, the body, and our physiology on an energetic level. Not with bullets and bombs. It's a perfect Republican weapon. No offense to Republicans here, but you don't want to destroy the property. You have to rebuild it afterwards. This is a weapon systems of the 21st century.
The non-real fact that you just heard there is the weapon system of the 21st century will attack the mind and the body using these energy weapons that can precisely attack the specific organ, damage it, degrade it, and attack the mind psychologically, and of course the brain as a physiological organ. And they do these things where they use these clowns around you, who for me in my case they love to say, oh, not real, not, and now I've been using that as the lingo as the non-real things they do, because this is a common tactic to confuse the target individual.
This gets into fate. So they'll say we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's, satanic ritual abuse. And I've heard all these stories. One guy believed it was some 14-year-old kid with an Xbox that lived next door. The trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis that people will believe something other than a massive government could do this.
So they try to distort the reality of what this is about. And they do the same tactical, disturbing, psychological manipulation that it's not real, that others have said the same thing, like this person.
Also often see highly disturbing pornographic images and videos, including highly disturbing pedophilia type of images and videos when I close my eyes. Form of torture. They coordinate the voices and what is referred to as malodorants. This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of planted dreams and videos.
That's not real. These things are not being said.
It is dramatic. It's somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind. But he thought of it. Like this disgusting thing. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting thing that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people in my surroundings or whatever they're doing. I don't know how they do it. I don't care.
This is a common breakdown tactic of belief systems and the human will. In no-touch torture, the techniques are more psychologically specialized for each target. Most common examples include homosexual targets that are forced with voices that are derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds, and vice versa.
It's not real. They don't do any pedophilia type of tormenting. This is called the no-touch torture book that Robert Dawkins wrote. I think number 6 was the pedophilia or child porn implantation of imagination, or implanting imagination of the child porn, like that woman said, the pedophilia type of torture. They were trying to counter that as no touch shit. Now I'll get to that point. It's not real that they manipulate your libido in these disgusting ways.
They use these monarch style torture programs, like it's based on sex and trauma. So they're gonna traumatize you, then use your libido to get back at you, and
I mean, there's more testimonial of this non-real testimonial of a woman who say how she's forced to get this sexual stimulation. But I don't think the volume is high enough for me to bring that up. But there's other non-real testimonials of sexual arousals. There's non-real validation that the government has been working on weapon system that can alter your brain.
In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior. The project reportedly ended in 1969, but DARPA's investigation of how machines can affect and possibly control the brain continued.
It's not real. They don't alter the mind. No, I was hearing this this man say, the Perps said use this via V2K, which maybe I can pull that up here.
V2K.
V2K is what this woman is going to describe. They can pipe in their voices, as that man say. Once they pipe in their voices, they can start altering your mind too. And this Perp said these random things to just try to deflect. I will try to scare you into accepting this. They tell me how they're going to frame me using children, by the way. Once again, it goes into the trend of what they do with pedophilia issues. But it doesn't end there. And this man is like, oh, he's going to 69 you, because in 1969, DARPA was working on technology that can alter the mind in the 60s. And he was saying, saying that to me using this technology.
V2K, or voice to skull. This involves the projection of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time, and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual, as well as just...
And yes, this is the same woman who's talking about pedophilia type of torture. So you understand the perception and the thought process. When she said perverse, she doesn't mean just like regular sexual things. No, toward children. And so they do these nasty things, and you can hear these non-real testimonials that validates that they have these tactics and tendency of attacking the body and the mind in these ways. So not real. What you just heard didn't exist. Target individuals stay strong because these perps are contracted to make you lose state of reality, so they can make you accept of this manipulation, because you are being altered, you're being manipulated. Some of them is very, very extreme in the sense of like this baby is forcing you to get sexual stimulation. Some of them is less extreme, but they want you to identify with this. I rather die in hell than live the life of this low life. Like I showed you, they're nobody. For me, to remember that they torture women and children is key, because they try to present themselves as a protector of children. Listen to this non-real testimonial of the same woman talk about
psychologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic, and they used her to threaten the most torture in me as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy session with severe sexual torture. One day I also observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. Every day for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "Ow!" I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions.
It's not real. You didn't just hear a woman describing children being tortured by this weapon system. Let me show you some not real stuff that is very not real.
Miss Catherine Nestor.
Catherine Nestor, I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned anything ultra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written.
You didn't hear a woman saying her young child and her are being used as test subjects, and because of what they do to her, it has damaged them psychologically and physically. It's not real, as they try to counter by saying because something else, but it's just try to disorient. You just heard a woman who talks about how she's dealt with her torture, psychological, and also witnessing children being tortured. You heard the woman saying her and her young child being tortured in this fashion. I will never let them live the fantasy. And what they do to women, for example, this woman, Megan, a very not real testimonial again.
Hey, I just woke up after a pretty rough night. The same thing happened last night as the night before, which was whenever I was trying to go to sleep, the private parts of my body began being burned again, and a lot of strange things. I've been doing some research, I guess what it's called, organized stalking, and called a targeted individual. The things that I feel, just feeling some pretty general fear about my own safety, because the government's burning the private parts of my body.
Not real testimonial. You know, for me, the way they try to even vilify me or try to make me accepting of this manipulation is when I was a kid, at the same age of this kid that I showed earlier on. I did this stupid act of a child at the age. And when they make me have this reaction, they're like, no, you pay, especially like those 4 or 5-year-old kid that you just saw. It's like, you pay because when you were a kid, that's what you did. Or actually, what would making you think is the way you thought when you were a child. I was like, no. And you have to exaggerate what I did. That's what it's like, oh, you touch her. She touched you and do some nastiness like that. Try to exaggerate this inappropriate act of a child. Well, the truth is I did something to myself. But this woman who talks about her being a target individual, this is what she deals with. Her past, the trauma of her past. As a child, she was molested, she was raped. Horrible things happened to her. And she claims the government is protecting the abuser.
The reality is, my government is protecting my abusers and even caused them to abuse me. And that since I was a child, when I was a child.
That's the woman that you hear calling herself a target individual and saying this is what's happening to her today. And just another non-real thing that I want to finalize this with is to find out the entities running this program, the Department of Defense, have these issues.
By security if or when needed, their Wi-Fi access is monitored in digital security suites. So how is this happening?
Well, it's happening because even though there is a certain amount of limitation on access, those who are working in the Department of Defense, clearly it appears to be thousands of individuals in the Department of Defense, are finding ways around this, specifically by using the Department of Defense IP addresses and also apparently peer-to-peer sharing within the department's network. So this study that was done on this issue, and it is pretty horrifying, Manila, to consider this. It shows that the Department of Defense ranked 19th out of almost 3,000 networks in terms of peer-to-peer sharing of child pornography. That is absolutely incredible. This bill...
That's a non-real fact. And this bill called National Defense Network Abuse Act, not real. I will never let this whole life live their not real reality. To all my target individuals, stay strong.